Hello viewers, today's topic is DNA repair mechanisms. Myself Dr. A. Madhuri, Assistant Professor of Microbiology from Government Degree College for Women, Begumpet. Today let us try to understand what are the problems coming in DNA structure due to various factors and how they are getting repaired, right? So going to the next slide. So in this slide we can see that what will be the effect on the cell if the damage which is occurring in the cell is not repaired. Uh, See here, this is the DNA damage, right? And it has to be repaired, right? Repair should happen. If DNA repair has taken place on time, then there will be genetic stability. Okay, so this is the balance we are seeing. So whenever there is a damage, there should be repair mechanisms operating in the cell. Then only there will be stability in the cell, right? So on the other hand, when there is a damage in the DNA and which is leading to defective or incomplete DNA pairing, or in other words, there is no DNA repair here. So in such times, it will lead to genetic instability, which can cause cancer or other hereditary diseases, and it may also lead to genetic divergence. So cell repair mechanism or DNA repair mechanisms are very much important for the cell survival and the organism survival as well. Otherwise it will be leading to very dangerous effects on the living organism. Now let us see what are the types of DNA damage. Here first one is deamination. Deamination means removal of amino group. Deamination means removal of amino group. By removal of amino group, if you can see the structure of nitrogen bases, the only difference between cytosine and uracil will be the extra amino group which is present in the cytosine. So when this amino group is removed from the cytosine, it can convert it into uracil. Same way, from adenine, if we can remove an amino group, it can convert into another base called as hypoxanthine. So when these bases are changing, when cytosine is changing to uracil or adenine is changing to hypoxanthine, their bonding patterns will also change. As a result, there will be difference in the sequence in coming generations, and which may lead to mutations in the cell or changes in the genetic material. Next, depurination. Purine are nothing but they are the nitrogen bases. If we can revise, purines are of like nitrogen bases are of two types, purines and pyrimidines. These purines are double ring compounds, example adenine and guanine. Right. So depurination means losing of purines, or that is losing of adenine or guanine. Next, the third one is TT or TC dimers. Formation of TT dimers or TC dimers. Bases become cross-linked. TT dimers are more prominent. It is caused by UV light of 280 nanometers, and UVB, which is having 280 to 320 nanometers. So these TT and TC dimers, actually they are called as pyrimidine dimers. Okay, so out of these two, TT dimers are more prominent, and these dimers, in this dimer formation, there is a covalent bond formed between two adjacent thymines or two adjacent cytosines, or thymine or a cytosine. whatever be the combination, there is a covalent bond formed between adjacent pyrimids. Now, this problem is caused by UV light. Okay, when an organism is exposed to UV light of uh, more than 280 nanometers wavelength, this light is called as UVC or UVB, which is having wavelength of 280 to 320 nanometers. In both the cases, the organism can have TT dimers or pyrimidine dimers. And next repair mechanism is alkylation. Here an alkyl group is added to bases. Here we can see in deamination one amino group is removed. Same way in alkylation, extra alkyl group is being added onto the nitrogen bases. So this change, that is alkylation, can be chemically induced, and in some cases it may be harmless, but in some cases it may lead to mutations also by mispairing during replication or stop polymerase altogether. So this alkylation, in some cases it is harmless, but in some organisms it may lead to horrible effects such as mutations by mispairing. Means when the structure of the base changes, its pairing also changes, and due to mispairing there will be errors in the replication. Sometimes this alkylation may also stop the polymerase movement during the replication. So these are the different types of problems which can be occurred in DNA. In spontaneous mutations, deamination can happen. In deamination, amino group is removed. In place of amino group, here we can see oxygen is there. So in this way, cytosine is converted to uracil, and adenine is changed to hypoxanthine. Whatever we have seen in the first type of repair, that is deamination, here amino group is there, it is removed, and it is this cytosine, by the removal of amino group, the cytosine is converted to uracil, and similarly adenine is converted into hypoxanthine. And next is induced mutations. This is done by UV light exposure. Here TT dimers are formed. These are the adjacent thymine dimers, and this is the natural. This is the natural bonding, which can be seen between two thymine dimers. And if you compare this diagram with this diagram, you can see the extra bonding here. These pink lines are extra to these, in this structure. Okay, so these pink lines are corresponding to the covalent bond press formed between two adjacent thymines. If you can just see the diagram very clearly, this is the nucleotide what we are seeing. The nucleotide will have a sugar, a phosphate, and a nitrogen base. Okay, so this sugar molecule, um, and adjacent one more thymine is there. Here also sugar, phosphate, and nitrogen base we can see, that is thymine, right? So bonding will be usually present between two adjacent sugars by phosphodiester bond. This will be called as phosphodiester bond between 3' carbon and 5' carbon of adjacent nucleotides. This is the normal bonding pattern which can be seen between adjacent thymines. But when it is exposed to, when the DNA is exposed to UV light, what happens is a covalent bond will be formed between two adjacent thymines. Here there is no bond between these two thymines. But if you compare this diagram, here you can see this bonding between two thymines. They are covalent bonds which are formed by exposure to UV light. They are called as thymine dimers. They can be dimer because they are linked to each other and they cannot separated easily. And next is depurination. Depurination means, as I said in the previous slide, removal of the purine itself. This is the purine. Purines are double ring compounds. So here we are having a double ring compound, and this double ring compound is attached to the sugar as usual, and this is the phosphate. So this is the nucleotide having a purine. When this purine is removed from the site, it is called as apurinic site. It will lead to apurinic site, and this will cause many problems in the DNA. And next is alkylation. Alkylation, as we have discussed, it is the addition of additional methyl group, right? So this is the guanine structure. To in this guanine, we can see here extra methyl group is added. So this by the addition of extra methyl group here, it is changed to O6 methyl guanine. Okay, so guanine is changed to O6 methyl guanine by alkylation or addition of alkyl group. Next is types of DNA damage. In this continuation, this is the fifth one, that is oxidative damage. Here, due to oxidative damage, it may be due to oxygen free radicals. Here, guanine oxidizes to 8-oxoguanine, also called single stranded or a double strand breaks, very important for organelles. Okay, here guanine is changed to also guanine. Next, replication error, wrong nucleotide or modified nucleotide is inserted. So, as we have seen in the previous sessions, a replication is nothing but formation of a copy of the parent DNA, and during this process of replication, bases must be inserted, nucleotides must be inserted in a complementary sequence to the parent strand. So during this insertion of nucleotides, sometimes due to different conditions, some wrong bases may get inserted into the daughter DNA molecule, which may lead to mutations or replicate or problems in the DNA. And the next type of problem or repair is double strand breaks. It is induced by ionizing radiations, transposons, topoisomerases, endonucleases, mechanical stress on chromosomes, or single strand nick in a single stranded region. Example during replication and transcription. So, this problem, that is double strand breaks, as we have seen, UV light is inducing TT dimers. Here, ionizing radiation is inducing double stranded breaks in a DNA. Double strand breaks means there is a break in two strands of the DNA molecules. So, and it is also induced by not only ionizing radiation but also by transposons, topoisomerases. Transposons are nothing but jumping genes which can get inserted into the new position, and topoisomerases are the enzymes, and endonucleases which can cut in the middle of the DNA, and mechanical stress on the chromosome. By mechanical stress, if a chromosome is facing some mechanical stress, then also there can be break in the DNA, or it can also due to single stranded nick in a single stranded region during replication or transcription. So here we can see the summary of repair mechanisms. So damaging agent, it can be X-rays, which is leading to oxygen radicals, alkylating agents, spontaneous reaction. UV light may cause polycyclic aromatic hydrocarbons are affected. X-rays and other replication errors can also be seen. So, and these are the repair mechanisms, that is base excision repair, nucleotide excision repair, recombinational repair, and mismatch repair. Okay, so the problem by X-rays can be repaired by base excision repair. UV light can be repaired by. So these are the repair mechanisms, and these are the different damaging agents, and this is the cell cycle. If we can remember the cell cycle concept or the cell divisions, we can remember that there are different phases in the cell cycle. They are M phase, G1 phase, S phase, and G2 phase. S is the synthetic phase, and the M is the mitotic phase or meiotic phase, cell division phase. S means here DNA has to divide. Next, so when there is a problem in genetic level or in DNA, it will result in inhibition of transcription, replication, or chromosomal segregation, and as all these processes will stop due to problems in DNA, it may lead to apoptosis or cell death. And if there are mutations or chromosomal aberrations, then it can, in order to survive, it can lead to some other problems, that is cancer, aging, or other diseases. Now, as we have seen in the previous slides, we have understood that DNA damage may arise spontaneously or due to ex- environmental exposure to mutagens, that is X-rays or UV rays. And third is cellular metabolism. During replication or any other processes, some damage may happen due to errors. Next, DNA damage may be classified as strand breaks, base loss, base damages, adducts, crosslinks, sugar damages, and DNA protein crosslinks. So these are the different types of repair mechanisms which we have to study in detail. And DNA damage, if not repaired, these are the repairs, repair mechanism. These are the damages which are occurring in the DNA, and if these damages or repairs are not repaired, then it may lead to changes in replication, transcription, or it may also lead to mutation or even cell death. Now, here we can see some of the enzymes or proteins involved in DNA repair system of E. coli, and we can also see the type of damage here. So, first one, if the type of damage for mismatches means the base is wrongly paired. So for this mismatches, these are the different enzymes required here: DAM methylase, MUTH, MUTL, mutase proteins, DNA helicase 2, and single strand binding proteins, DNA polymerase 3, exonuclease 1, exonuclease 7, RECJ nuclease, exonuclease X, and DNA ligase. And the second one is abnormal bases, that is uracil, hypoxanthine, xanthine, alkylated bases in some other organisms, pyrimidine dimers. So these are the problems which can be seen in DNA, and these are repaired by base excision repair, where enzymes are DNA glycosylases and AP endonucleases, DNA polymerase 1, and DNA ligases. Then DNA lesion that cause large structural changes, that is pyrimidine dimers, are repaired by nucleotide excision repair, where ABC exonuclease will be the first protein which has to work, and then DNA polymerase and DNA ligase will seal the neck. And then the direct repair, it is the here damage is may cause pyrimidine dimers, O6 methyl guanine, 1,6 methyl guanine, and 3 methyl cytosine. And the repair is done by DNA photolysis, O6 methyl guanine, DNA methyl transferase, and ALKB protein. So these are the proteins involved in direct repair or repair by photolysis. Next, so we have till now we have seen the list of damages and types of proteins involved in each repair mechanism. So let us study each repair mechanism in detail, starting with the methyl directed mismatch repair. Methyl directed mismatch repair. If any mismatch escapes the proofreading mechanism, it will cause distortion of the helix. What happens is, what do you mean by first mismatch? Mismatch means it is not matching with the parental combination or parental sequence, right? Then only we can call it as a mismatch. When mismatch escapes the proofreading mechanism, what is this proofreading? When a replication is occurring in the DNA molecule, there will be mismatch, there will be proofreading mechanism. When a replication is occurring, there will be a proofreading mechanism. Why proofreading mechanism? To maintain the fidelity or the quality of the DNA in the cell. It will cause distortion of the helix. So when a mismatch escapes this proofreading mechanism, it will cause a distortion or a bubble in the helix. This can be detected and repaired, but it is important that the repair enzyme can distinguish the new strand from the old. So the process of detection and repairing will happen, but the repair enzymes must understand which one is the new strand or which one is the old strand. So definitely the, what do you say, the mismatch or the problem will be in the new strand. So the repair mechanisms must be able to recognize the new strand and make over the changes in the new strand. This is possible in E. coli because there is an enzyme which methylates the adenine in a sequence, GATC. This methylation does not occur immediately after synthesis, and until it does not, two strands are distinguishable. Means in the E. coli system there is a methylation process. What is this methylation process is, when the replication is completed, after some time there will be methylation on the sequence GATC. In this sequence, this GATC sequence will be repeated in single DNA, in every DNA molecule at a particular distance. So in this sequence, wherever adenine is there, that adenine will be methylated. So seeing that it will be known that that particular DNA by methylation, that particular DNA strand is the old one. Old one. This methylation does not occur immediately after synthesis, and until it does, the two strands are distinguishable. So whenever replication is occurring, that DNA methylation of the new strand will not be done. It will take some time. Next is mismatch repair. So this methyl-directed mismatch repair. If any mismatch escapes the proofreading mechanism, it will cause distortion in the helix. So if there is any problem or mismatch in the DNA, definitely there will be a repair mechanism which will be repairing that problem. Or if it is not repaired, then it will form a bubble or a distortion in the helix. So this can be detected and repaired, but it is important that repair enzyme can distinguish the new strand from the old. So as we have discussed, the repair mechanisms must be in a position to identify which one is the new strand and which one is the old strand. So in this, to identify this new strand for repair has to be taken, where repair has to be taken, there is a mechanism. In this mechanism, in E. coli we can see that after replication, after some time, GATC sequences, wherever GATC sequences are there in the DNA sequence, adenine in the sequence will be methylated. The methylated does not occur immediately after synthesis, and until it does, two strands are distinguishable. So we know that during replication, two data DNA strands are synthesized from parent DNA strand, and one parent DNA strand is present in both the daughter DNA molecules. Okay, so in the parent DNA molecule, wherever there is GRDC sequence, this adenine will be methylated, and after the replication process is completed, for a few minutes, the daughter DNA strands will not be methylated. After some time, the daughter DNA strands will also be methylated, but the time gap between the completion of the replication process and the methylation is left for repair processes. In that time period, the repair enzymes can recognize the new strand, and they can remove any mismatch in that strand. So mismatch repair system, in short, we can say that MMR system, it is an excision or resynthesis system that can be divided into four phases. So it is an excision mechanism. Excision means cut. Resynthesis system means that part where the problem is there, that part will be removed, and that sequence will be resynthesized. So this MMR can be divided into four phases. First one is recognition of the mismatch by mute S proteins. Here in this mechanism, we can see different types of proteins are involved. such as mute S, mute L, and mute H. So first, we are talking about the function of mute S protein. Here, the function of this mute S is to identify where the mismatch has been happened, okay, or the recognition of the mismatch. And then second phase is recruitment of repair enzymes. Once the mismatch is recognized by mute S, then other repair enzymes must come to the site of repair. And the next is excision of the incorrect sequence. Then after all the proteins come to the site of repair, then there will be cut made in the DNA where there is a problem, and then resynthesis by DNA polymerase using the parental strand as a template. As the two strands are together, where the parent strand and the daughter strand are together, and wherever there is a problem, there will be a cut made in the DNA on two places, and the problematic sequence will be removed, and the gap will be filled by DNA polymerase and sealed by ligase. So that filling of the gap will be, or adding of nucleotides will be on the basis of the sequence present on the parent strand, or the complementary bases to the parent strand sequence will be added onto the into the gap, and then it will be sealed. So, coming to the MMR repair in E. coli, or mismatch repair in E. coli, here mute S, as we have discussed, it is used for identification of the mismatch in E. coli, or initiation of E. coli mismatch repair. Here, mute S is a 95 kilodaltons polypeptide which exists as an equilibrium mixture of dimers and tetramers. So, this protein can occur as a dimer as well as tetramer. Dimer means two proteins together are present, and then tetramer means four proteins are held together. So, this mute S, as we have discussed, it will recognize the mismatch in the DNA molecule. Then comes another protein, that is mute L. It is a 68 kilodaltons polypeptide that is dimeric in solution, is recruited to the heteroduplex in a mute S and ATP dependent fashion. So this mute L will come to the site of repair, and it exists in the form of a dimer, means two proteins, two subunits are there, and it is ATP dependent molecule, and mute S, mute L heteroduplex complex is believed to be a key intermediate in the initiation of the mismatch. So for the initiation of the mismatch repair, we require mute S protein, mute L protein, and heteroduplex complex, means it is a DNA molecule where there is a problem, or where there is a mismatch present. The combination of these three things are required for the initiation of the mismatch repair. Now, this in this diagram we can see methyl directed mismatch repair in E. coli. So let us suppose here this is the mismatch, okay, and these are the methyl sequences. As if you remember, as we have discussed in the previous slide, methyl groups will be added onto the adenine. Adenine means, if these methyl groups, here we can see on the upper strand, so it means that wherever, on whichever strand there are methyl groups, it means that is the parental strand or the old strand, okay. And these methyl groups are believed to be present on adenine in the sequence of GATC. So here one GATC sequence is there, here also one GATC sequence is there, and in the middle there is a mismatch. Now what all proteins we require is mute S, mute L, and mute H along with the ATP. So here we can see there is a mute S which is helping in the recognition, which has recognized the mismatch, and then mute L has come to the site of repair, and then mute H is a endonuclease which is cutting the DNA at the site opposite to the methylation on the parent strand. Here methylation is there, so on the opposite strand mute H is cutting this daughter DNA. Then what happens? DNA helicase is the removing the sequence where there is a problem. Here wherever there is a lesion, there is a problem. So helicase is removing it is unwinding the DNA, and unwinding the DNA, and then it will be cut. The problem, the DNA strand where there is a problem, it will be cut from this parent DNA, and the gap will be filled by DNA polymerase 3 and SSBs. SSBs means single strand binding proteins. They will be binding to the separated strands, and this gap will be filled by DNA polymerase 3 and ligase. Same thing here also. The cut can be made on this side or on this side. It will show the same effect. Next, it is a diagrammatic representation of methylation and mismatch repair. So this is the methylation we have seen on both the strands. GATC is there. Here also GATC is there. Here also GATC is there. On the adenine methyl group is added. So this is the parent DNA. And after replication, what happens is this is the old strand that is having methyl group, and this is the pink one is the new strand. Here also blue one is the old strand showing the methylation, and this pink one is the new strand, and the replication is proceeding in this direction. For a short period following replication, template strand is methylated and the new strand is not replicated. So after this part is replicated, after some time, for some period, the parent strand remain methylated and the daughter strand will not show any methylation. That this DNA molecule can be called as hemimethylated DNA. Next, after few minutes, the new strand is methylated and the two strands can no longer be distinguished. So after few minutes, what happens is this daughter strand will also show methylation. So after this methylation, we cannot recognize the newly synthesized strand. So there will be a gap of few minutes between the replication and the methylation, and then dimethylase will add methyl group here. So here at the end both the strands will be methylated and we cannot differentiate between the old strand and the new strand. So if a repair mechanisms has to do some repair, if definitely they have to identify which one is the new strand, and that repair identification and the repair process, all everything should happen within that few minutes which is left between this methylation process. Model for mismatch. So here also we can see methyl group, here also we can see methyl group. This part is elaborated and shown here. Here GATC sequence is there. On the adenine there is a methyl group, and blue one is the new old strand, that is why it is showing methyl group, and the pink one is the new strand, that is why here no methylation is being seen. Then mutase, mutal and ATP, they are all coming to the site for the repair of the mismatch at this site, and mute H will cleave the utilize one ATP, and then it will be a loop will be formed, and after this the incorrect base, there will be a cut made at one of the methyl group, one end where there is a methylation in the parent strand, and then a stretch of the DNA where there is a problem is removed, and then new DNA is synthesized and then ligated. Here also you can see the same thing. This is the methylation group. This is where the problem is there, and these are the proteins involved, and the ATP is utilized. Here, after this mute H will create a nick here, and DNA helicase will unwind, and exonuclease 7 will remove the bases from left side to right side. This is the bases they have removed up till the base which has a problem, and then DNA polymerase 3 will add the new bases in this direction. And meanwhile, single stranded binding proteins will help in unwinding of the keep keeping the strands separated without allowing them to rewind. And here also you can see the same thing, mutal, mutase, and DNA helicase and exonuclease 1 is involved here. And the same thing, stretch of DNA is removed in this direction, but the cut is made on this methyl group, adjacent to this methyl group, and DNA polymerase 3 and SSBs are involved. So cut can be made either on right side of methyl group or on the left side methyl group. Next is excision repair. Excision means cut. It is conserved throughout evolution, found in all prokaryotic and eukaryotic organisms. So this excision literally means making a cut in the DNA, and this is a conserved process. Means this process has not changed in even in prokaryotes or in eukaryotes. In this excision repair, there are three steps. One is error is recognized and enzymatically clipped out by a nuclease that cleave the phosphodiester bonds. Here UVR gene products operate at this step. So wherever there is a mismatch in the DNA molecule, it is recognized, and then a nuclease will cleave the phosphodiester bond between two adjacent nucleotides, and then a part of the DNA is removed where there is a problem, and then DNA polymerase 1 will fill the gap by inserting the appropriate nucleotides, and then DNA ligase will seal the nick. Here in excision repair, only three steps are there. In the first step, error is recognized, and then nucleus will come and break the phosphodiester bond between two adjacent nucleotides, and a set of some sequence is removed, and then DNA polymerase will fill the gap by adding new nucleotides in that region, and DNA ligase will seal the next. So this excision repair is of two types: base excision repair and nucleotide excision repair. Base excision repair means excision means cutting, base means base will be removed. Nucleotide excision repair means total nucleotide will be removed. Here corrects the damage to nitrogenous bases created by the spontaneous hydrolysis of DNA bases, as well as the hydrolysis of DNA bases caused by agents that chemically alter them. So it this BER is applicable for spontaneous mutations or chemical mutations, and nucleotide excision repair, it helps in removing bulky lesions in DNA that alter distort the regular double helix. Group of genes are involved here. UVR, it is involved in recognizing and clipping out the lesions in the DNA. Repair is completed by DNA polymerase 1 and DNA ligase. Here base excision repair, single base is removed, and the nucleotide excision repair, a set of nucleotides are removed. Coming to the base excision repair, we can study this repair mechanism in detail. In this one, for correction of specific chemical damage in the DNA. So whatever chemical damage is there in the DNA, that can be corrected by base excision repair. Example: uracil, hypoxanthine, adenine, urea, formamidopyrimidine, 5,6 hydrated thymine. So these are the altered forms of bases which can be corrected by base excision repair. It consists of DNA glycosylases and AP nucleus. So two types of enzymes are involved in base excision repair. They are DNA glycosylases. DNA glycosylase means they will break the glycosyl bond, and AP nuclease. Wherever a purinic site or a fermionic site is there, that the site will be cleaved by AP endonuclease. That site is called as AP site, where purines or pyrimidines are removed from the sugar phosphate backbone. Such sites will be called as apurinic site. That is why the letters AP are written. It can be apurinic or apyrimidinic. So the endonucleases, why they are called as endonucleases means endo means within, nucleus means which can cut the nuclear material or a DNA. So these as they are working at AP sites or apurinic or apyrimidinic site, they are also called as AP endonucleases. They are cutting the DNA at the sites of apurinic or apyrimidinic sites. Next, the DNA glycosylases are specific: uracil glycosylase, hypoxanthine DNA glycosylase, etc. So glycosylase, they can break the bond between sugar and base, or glycosyl bond they can break. So these DNA glycosylases, they are specific for different bases. For example, uracil glycosylase. For you, if there is a uracil, so that uracil glycosylase will have to come to the side to break the bond, and then if there is a hypoxanthine DNA glycosylase will come to the birth. Next mechanism. Here DNA glycosylase recognizes specific damaged DNA. Here if you can see, this is the sequence, right? Here uracil is there. So definitely this is the parent strand and this is the new strand which is being synthesized, where uracil is by mistakenly uh, added onto the new DNA molecule, whereas there should be cytosine here opposite guanine. Guanine should always pairs with cytosine, so there must be cytosine here, but in place of cytosine, uracil is added. So definitely this is the mismatch. UG is the mismatch. Now what happens is glycosylase, it will come and remove the damaged base. Okay, so glycosylase, here it is removing the damaged base, creating AP site, or if you can see, this is the sugar phosphate backbone, right? Here to this sugar phosphate will be in the middle. These are the sugars. So for this sugar, there must be base attached here, right? So this glycosylase is breaking the bond between the base and the sugar. Between the bond and between the base and the sugar, there is a glycosyl bond, so that glycosyl bond is broken by this glycosylase. So this removal of base from here creates a site called as apurinic site or apyrimidinic site. It is called as AP site, that is apurinic site or apyrimidinic site. Here pyrimidine is removed, so we can call it as a apyrimidinic site. Now AP endonuclease, that is apyrimidinic endonuclease, will come and cut, make a incision. Incision means cut. Where it is making the incision? Just adjacent to the base, which has to be repaired. Here there is no base, so here there must be some repair happen. So this AP endonuclease will come and just to break the DNA adjacent to that repair. Now DNA polymerase B, it will remove removal of deoxyribose phosphate. So then this part will be removed along with the deoxyribose phosphate. Sugar and phosphate is removed, and then this gap will be formed. So that gap will be filled by DNA pol 1 or DNA polymerase 1, and then when the gap is filled, correct base will be inserted opposite guanine. Later, the phosphodiester bond between cytosine and thymine nucleotides will be synthesized by DNA ligase, thus sealing the daughter DNA molecule. Okay, so this is the repair mechanism, or excision repair mechanism, or base excision repair mechanism. So here, as we have seen, DNA glycosylase recognizes specific damage to bases, cleaves glycosyl bond to remove the base, AP endonuclease cleaves backbone, DNA polymerase removes a basic site, and then replacement of the base will be done by DNA polymerase. So this is again the same concept shown by in a different format, same enzymes. Here DNA glycosylase is recognizing this site, it is removing, it is breaking here. AP endonuclease is removing the backbone, and then deoxyribose phosphodiesterase DNA polymerase will add the base, and ligase will seal the neck. Next is nucleotide excision repair. Here it is used by the cell for bulky damage, DNA damage. For base excision repair, one base is the problem. Nucleotide, here the damage is somewhat more than this base excision repair. Here non-specific DNA damage this is a non-specific DNA damage mechanism, means this nucleotide excision repair mechanism is not specific for any problem in the DNA. It can be operated for many of the reasons or many places in the DNA. It can be worked out for chemical edits or UV photo products, and this was first identified in 1964 in E. coli, and these are the scientists who have worked on this. And in this excision repair, gene products of E. coli, that is UVR, UVRA, UVRB, and UVRC, form an enzyme complex that physically cuts out, excises the damaged strand containing the pyrimidine dimers. An incision is made 8 nucleotides away from the pyrimidine dimer on the 5' side and 4 or 5 nucleotides on the 3' side. The damaged strand is removed by UVRD, a helicase, and then repaired by DNA polymerase 1 and DNA ligase. It is error free. So, this excision repair mostly it is for thymine dimers or pyrimidine dimers. Here, the enzymes involved are UVRA, UVRB, and UVRC. These recognize the TT dimer site, and it physically cuts the DNA strand where the pyrimidine dimers are present. And how it is cutting is, it is cutting the DNA 8 nucleotides away from the pyrimidine dimer on the left side, and 4 to 5 nucleotides on the um, 8 nucleotides on the 5' side and 4 or 5 nucleotides on the 3' side. So whatever the damaged strand is there, it is removed by UVRD. It is a helicase, and then repaired by DNA polymerase and DNA ligase. This is the excision repair. So UVRABC, this is the TT dimer. So these enzymes will recognize the TT dimer, and it will cause a nick here on both the sides. So on 5' side, the nick will be made 8 bases away from the site of TT dimer, and on the 3' side it will be 4 to 5 bases away from the TT dimer. So on both the sides, the nick will be there, or cut will be done, or excision will be done, and then this helicase, that is UVRD, will remove this um, problematic part of DNA which is having TT dimer, and then the gap will be filled by DNA polymerase 1 and sealed by DNA ligase. So, as repair mechanisms is a very lengthy um, topic, we'll be continuing in the next one. Thank you for patience listening.